All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're taking a look at something a little different.
Okay.
Instead of an actual podcast, we're going to be looking at a concept for a true crime show
Uh-huh.
called Crime Chronicles, Unveiling the Shadows.
I like it already.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be really interesting to kind of get a sneak peek behind the scenes.
Yeah.
See how the creators are envisioning the show before it even launches.
It's like getting a look at the blueprint,
Yeah,
before the house is built.
exactly. So let's start with that title.
Okay.
Crime Chronicles,
Mm.
Unveiling the Shadows. Just the name itself, it really sets a certain tone.
Definitely. And I think it speaks to that desire we have to uncover the truth,
Yes.
to bring those dark secrets into the light.
And I'm really intrigued by this focus on the psychology of crime that the concept highlights.
Oh, absolutely.
Why do you think that's such a draw for people?
Well, I think it's that age-old fascination with the dark side of human nature, trying to understand what makes someone commit a crime.
Yeah.
What are those motivations, those thought processes?
Yeah, like what takes someone to that point?
Exactly. And this podcast seems to want to explore those psychological factors, even going beyond just the individual
Right.
and looking at how society or culture plays a role.
And they've laid out a really specific structure for the show,
Uh-huh.
talking about a dramatic opening to pull listeners in, then going into immersive storytelling, bringing in expert opinions, and even audience participation.
That's a smart approach, I think.
Yeah.
You need that strong framework, to keep people engaged.
Yeah.
That opening hook,
Yeah.
then the story unfolds, you get the analysis, and then that chance for the audience to weigh in.
Yeah, I love that interactive element.
Me too.
And speaking of keeping people on the edge of their seats,
Yeah.
they're really emphasizing sound design.
Oh, yeah. Sound design is crucial, especially for true crime.
Right, like imagine you're listening to this episode
Uh-huh.
and suddenly you hear footsteps getting closer in the dark.
Chills, literally chills.
It just adds a whole other level of immersion.
Absolutely.
And they're even thinking about using reenactments
Oh, wow.
to bring those stories to life.
It's like you're right there in the middle of the investigation.
Right, but it's not all about just, thrills and chills.
Yeah, of course not.
They're also planning to incorporate victim accounts
Yes.
and investigative reports.
It's so important to remember that these are real stories,
Right.
with real people who have been affected.
Exactly, in giving them a voice.
Exactly.
It just adds that layer of respect and balance.
Absolutely. It can't just be about the sensationalism.
Right, you have to approach it ethically.
Exactly.
And to get even deeper, they're bringing in expert voices,
Okay.
like criminologists, law enforcement psychologists,
Oh, that's great.
people who can offer insights that we wouldn't get from just reading a news story.
They provide that context and depth.
Yeah.
Help us understand the why behind the crime.
Yeah, and here's the part I find really exciting.
What's that?
They want to have an interactive element where listeners can submit their own theories
Oh, wow.
or experiences related to the case.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's not just listening anymore. You're participating.
Right.
You're thinking critically, maybe even helping to crack the case.
It turns it into a community,
Absolutely. A shared experience.
So based on everything we've discussed,
Uh-huh.
do you think this podcast has the potential to really stand out in the true crime world?
I think so.
What would make you hit that subscribe button?
Well, they've got a solid structure. They're planning to use immersive elements. They're bringing in experts.
Right.
And that interactive element that's really unique.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to offer something more than just the surface level details.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're going for that deeper understanding of the psychology, the context.
So we've taken a good look at the concept for Crime Chronicles, Unveiling the Shadows, and it seems like it has a lot going for it. But now I want to turn it over to you, the listeners. What elements of true crime stories really hook you? What kind of mysteries would you like to see explored in a podcast like this? Think about the cases that stay with you, the questions that keep you up at night. That's the power of true crime. It makes us confront the dark side of humanity and grapple with those tough questions about crime and justice. Until next time, stay curious.